In today's video, we are going to be learning how to make our own personal AI inside of Python using the Open Router website, and this is a 100% free client. So as you can see, all we're going to need to do is type in our prompt. Let's say hi right there, and let's see what response we are going to get from our client right here that says AI. And as you can see, we get hello, how can I assist you today? So we can ask it whatever we want to ask it. Let's say, what is the capital of, let's say, something like France, a basic question for our AI to give us an answer to. So we are going to be using an API from the Open Router website, which is a 100% free website to get API keys from, and our models will be free as well. And as you can see, the capital of France is Paris right here, and it is the largest city in France, and more information given to us from our AI. So without further ado, let's get right into making our AI. Alright, the first thing we're actually going to need to do is go into our web browser, and we're going to tap on this URL search bar right here, and we're going to type in openrouter.ai/workspaces/default/keys. And this is the website we are supposed to go to actually get our free Open Router API key. So once you have that searched up, what you're going to need to do is click enter, and you'll be redirected to the main Open Router API key website. So if you've used this before, you're going to see your previous API keys right here. But if you've never, what you're going to need to do is create a new account and click on this button right here that says new key. And this button is going to help us create our new key. So as for the name, you can put anything you want. I'm just going to say my new AI. And for the credit limit, which is optional, you're going to leave this blank for an unlimited credit limit. And for resetting the limit you can just leave this to n/a. It doesn't really mean anything. And for the expiration, this really doesn't matter. So I'm going to set mine to be 7 or 1 day, and I'm going to click on this button right here that says create. So I'm going to click on that, and once your API key is created, all you're going to need to do is click on this button right here that says copy. And once you're done with that, what we're going to need to do is go back into our main Python IDE and actually start writing our main code. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need to do is actually import the modules, and the first module we're going to import is the CustomTkinter module. So we're going to type in import CustomTkinter, just like this, and we're going to import it as CTK, just like that. Then after that, we're going to import the threading module so that we can have a smooth appearance to our AI's design. Then after importing the threading module, we're going to need to import the OpenAI module. But this module is not a module that's built into Python, so we're going to need to install it. And to install it, you're going to need to open your command prompt or your terminal if you're on Mac, and type in pip install OpenAI, just like this. And if you don't already have the CustomTkinter module, you can type in CustomTkinter right after the OpenAI line. Then once you're done with installing it, you're going to type in from OpenAI. We're going to import OpenAI just like that, with a capital letter O and a capital letter AI. Now to actually start writing the main code, just like this. Then right below this, I'm going to set our key values. So the first thing I'm going to set is my API key, which is one of the most important things to actually set. So the API key we got from the OpenAI website, you can just paste that in right there. And right below that, we're going to type in our model engine. So I'm going to set this equal to open router slash free, which what this line of code actually does for us is it's going to choose the best free model from the OpenAI website and make it help us with our AI project. So now to actually create our Tkinter window, I'm going to set our window name to app, and I'm going to set it to ctk.ctk, just like this, with a set of parentheses. And just like this, we have created our Tkinter window. So I'm going to set our app's geometry, which is the size of our app, and I'm going to set it to be around 700 by 600 pixels. So just like this, then this is going to be the size of our app. Then right after that, I'm going to set an app title. So I'm going to type in app.title. Then I'm going to call this Nexus client, just like that. You can call it whatever you want to call it. So next, I'm going to make a background gradient, just so that our AI actually looks appealing. So I'm going to make a canvas, and I'm going to set canvas to ctk dot ctk, just like this, ctk canvas, open and close parentheses. Then the first thing I'll pass in is our window name, and I'm going to pass in highlight thickness, just like this, and I'm going to set highlight thickness equal to 0. Then once I'm done setting the key variables, I'm going to go right below there and pack the canvas. So I'm going to type in canvas.pack, then I'm going to fill and I'm going to set it equal to both, just like that. Then expand, in case we get more messages or in case we talk to our AI more, it should be able to expand so that it can fit all the messages. So I'm going to set expand equal to true. Then right below this, I'm going to need to actually add our gradient. So I'm going to make a function known as draw underscore gradient. You can call this whatever you want, but mine is descriptive. And I'm going to set e equal to none, which means error is equal to none. Then I'm going to go inside of our function and say canvas dot delete gradient, just like this, so that we can actually add our new gradient. So h is equal to canvas. So this value right here is actually the height, but I'm just going to leave it as h and set h equal to canvas dot win info, which is the window info. I'm just going to type in winfo, then the height underscore height, just like that. Then I'm going to open and close parentheses. Then I'm going to make a for loop for y in range so that it iterates through the values inside of the range O, H, and 2, just like that. That's actually 0, not O. That was my mistake. Then I'm going to go inside of this for loop and I'm going to add a smooth transition. So I'm going to say f is equal to y divide by max 1 comma h, just like that. Go out of this, and now to actually make our smooth transition, let me just comment that smooth transition animation. So this is for the animation that won't make it look buggy. I'm going to go inside of that and set c equal to f, just like that, because we're going to concatenate something. So make sure you type it exactly as I'm typing it. I'm going to start with a pound symbol, just like this. Then I'm going to concatenate an integer, and inside of this integer I'm going to first pass in 10 plus, then another set of parentheses. I'm going to type in 22 minus 10, and this is for the exact measurements, so you can copy them exactly or set your own, but I recommend copying these ones. Add an asterisk right there, then add an f, then outside of these parentheses add a 4 colon, then add 0, 2, and x right there. Then come out of this curly bracket, set a new pair of curly brackets, and concatenate another set of integers, open and close parentheses, 11 plus another set of parentheses, 26 minus 11, just like that. Then we're going to add an asterisk and f again. Then we're going to leave the brackets right there, 0 to x. Once again, we're going to leave the curly brackets one more time and another set of curly brackets. We're going to concatenate an integer, then we're going to pass in 16 this time, plus another set of curly brackets, 36 minus 16, and we're going to add an asterisk once again, f, then come out of this, add a 4 colon, add 0 to x, and then we are done with that line of code. Then right below that, we're going to create our canvas by typing in canvas.create. Then right after create, we're going to add a line right there, create line, pass in 0 comma y, which is the y-axis. Then we're going to pass in the canvas dot win fo, just like that. We're going to pass in winfo underscore width, then a set of parentheses, comma y, comma fill. We're going to fill the canvas, which we're going to set equal to c. Then we're going to set tags equal to gradient so that our gradient can actually show, and the width is going to be set equal to about 2, just like that. Then for the canvas create line, we're going to leave that. Then we're going to leave this for loop and type in canvas dot tag underscore lower, open and close parentheses, then we'll pass in gradient inside of quotes. Then we're going to leave the function and we're going to type in canvas.bind. Then inside of this, we're going to configure a key. So what key are we going to configure? Inside of quotes, we're going to add a less than sign and a greater than sign. Then inside of this, we're going to type in configure. Then right after configure, we're going to add a comma. Then we'll type in draw underscore gradient. Then we are done with that. Now we're going to need to make our layout. So essentially, in case you're confused on this configure part, this is what we're going to use to actually make our enter key submit our answer to our AI or our question to our AI. So for our layout framing, let me just be specific. For our layout framing, I'm going to make the frame, and the frame is going to be set equal to CTK, which is CustomTkinter dot C capital letter T small letter K, just like that. Now I'm going to pass in frame. It's going to be frame right here. Inside of the parentheses, we're going to type in canvas, comma, FG underscore color. And I'm going to set this equal to something like just transparent so that it can have a more modern look to it. Then just to place the frame, I'm going to type in frame.place. Then I'm going to place it in rel x, and I'm going to set this equal to 0.04. That's going to be its x-axis. Then rel y is going to be set equal to 0.04 as well, and the rel width is going to be set equal to 0.92, and the rel height is going to be set equal to 0.92, just like that. Then now we need to centralize our clean output window. So I'm going to type in output window right here. Then I'm going to start with the chat window, and I'm going to set this equal to ctk.ctk, and that's how we make our windows. And I'm going to pass in frame, the frame we recently just made, and the foreground color is going to be set equal to a hex value. So just type in a pound symbol right there, 0f11a, and add a comma, then type in border underscore width. Then I'm going to set this equal to 1. Then the border underscore color is also going to be a hex value. You can set this equal to 232736. And these two hex values are basically dark, made to make a dark gradient mixture of blue and purple. So at the end of it, we're going to add a comma right here. Then type in font. Font is set equal to open and close parentheses. And inside of these parentheses, the first thing we'll pass in is the name of the font, which is going to be SUG UI. And right after that, the font size is going to be 14. We're going to leave the font, and we're going to say wrap is set equal to word, just like that. Then I'm going to leave the chat window right there. I'm going to set chat underscore window pack. We're going to pack it right there. So I'm going to set fill equal to both, just like we did with the other one. Then after that, I'm going to add a comma and set expand equal to true, just like that. So right after expand is set equal to true, we're going to need to add a padding to actually add some space. We're going to say pad y is set equal to 0, 12, and that's the padding. So I'm going to go right below that and set chat window, set dot configure. Actually, we need to configure our window. Then I'm going to say the state is set equal to disabled, just like that. I'm going to leave the chat window right there. So now I'm going to need to make a footer for our window. I'm going to say footer is equal to ctk.ctk. Make sure the T is capital and the K is in lowercase. Frame, ctk frame actually made a mistake. Just like that, open and close parentheses. Then the first thing I'll pass in is frame. Then right after frame, I'm going to pass in fg underscore color, and I'm going to set this equal to transparent, just like that. Leave this, and right after footer, I'm going to type in footer dot pack. The pack, just like that. Then fill is going to be set equal to x. Then I'm going to add a comma after that, and side is going to be set equal to bottom right there. So after footer.pack, you're going to type in def right underscore 2 underscore screen right there, and you're going to pass in a text value right there. So I'm going to pass chat window. I'm going to make the variable chat window. I'm going to configure it inside of this function. Then I'm going to set its state equal to normal. I'm going to reset its state to normal, and after that, the chat window is going to be inserted. So I'm going to type in chat window dot insert, just like that, open and close parentheses, pass in end right there, then text. So right after that, I'm going to pass in chat window again, and I'm going to configure in full, just like that. Then the state is going to be set equal to disabled right after it's inserted. Then I'm going to say chat underscore window dot scene end right there. So now we're done with our write to screen function. I'm going to make a stream pipeline. So essentially what the stream pipeline is it's meant to add a smooth appearance to our AI and make it not look glitched. So I'm going to set the prompt equal to user underscore input dot get, just like this, dot strip, and open and close parentheses. Then if not prompt, this is in case there is no prompt, what we're just going to return and do completely nothing. So now we're going to need to write to screen. We're just going to pass in write to screen right here, open and close parentheses. We're going to pass in an F right there. So I'm going to say you, then the prompt you actually typed in, then \n AI, and that's what the AI is going to say right after that. So this is going to be what we type in, then this is going to be the prompt we type in, \n. We're going to go down by 2 lines, and this is our AI's response. So after we make that write to screen, we're going to say user underscore input dot delete. So we're going to delete the user input, add a 0, then end right there, and that's going to delete the user input. So now we're going to need to make a network underscore thread function, just like this. So inside of network thread, we're going to make a try statement right there. So inside of this, we're going to pass in client and set client equal to OpenAI, which is from the module we inputted. So the OpenAI, the first thing we're going to pass in is API underscore key, and we're going to set this equal to our API key. So right after that, we're going to pass in the base URL, which is the URL where we got our API key from. So I'm going to type in https://open router .ai /API /v1, all in lowercase. So once we're done with that, we're going to leave this and make a stream variable, and stream is going to be set equal to client chat completions, just like this, then dot create. This is just to generate our AI response, and the first thing I'm going to pass in is the model. So the model is going to be set equal to model underscore name. So right after the model, I'm going to pass in messages. The message is basically the response we're going to get. So you're going to open and close brackets, open and close curly brackets. Then the first thing you pass in is role in quotes, and the role is going to be set equal to user. You're going to add a full colon right there, then pass in user in quotes right there. Then right after that, you're going to add a comma right here. Then the content, basically what the content we are uploading to the AI is going to be is the prompt. So we're uploading the prompt to our AI. So right after this bracket, we're going to pass stream, and we're going to set stream equal to true right there. Then we're going to leave this. We're going to leave that right there. I'm just going to make it seem closed. We're going to leave and go back inside of our try statement. Then we're going to make a for loop and say for chunk in stream. Then we're going to go inside of this loop and set token equal to chunk dot choices, and this is basically what response we're going to get from our AI. And I'm going to put brackets and 0, choosing choice 1 dot delta dot content, just like that. Then I'm done. Then as if token, in case we have tokens, if we actually have tokens, and I'm going to type in app.after, just like this, open and close parentheses, 0 comma right underscore to underscore screen, just like that. Then I'm going to pass in token right after this, end, and leave that. Then I'm going to leave the if statement and go into the same line as the for loop and type in app.after pass in 0, add a comma right after that, then pass in right underscore to underscore screen. Then right after that, we're going to pass in the text. Actually, I'm going to add quotes right here, backslash n, which means we're going to go down by 2 lines, add a plus right there, then add quotes. Then just for our AI response look, we're going to add 2 hyphens right there. Then we're going to add times 50. Then we're going to add a plus sign right there, then 2 backslash n's, and that's just for our AI response. So right after this, we're going to go back into the same line as our try statement, and we're going to make except exception as e statement. So I'm going to type in except exception as E, or you can type in as ERR for error. Then I'm going to type in app dot after, just like that, pass in 0, add a comma, then you type in right to screen, just like that. Then right after that, add a comma, if, then quotes, backslash n, then I'm going to say execution error. This is in case we get an error, and you can pass in ERR right there. I'm just going to add a full colon right there. So we're going to make ERR a string. So right here where it says ERR, we're going to type in string. Then we're going to make ERR be a string inside of there. And right at the end, we're going to say backslash n so that we can go down by 2 lines. So I'm going to leave this except exception as E, then go into the DEF network thread, and we type in threading.thread, just like that. Then we're going to set our target for our threading equal to network underscore thread, name of our function. Then we're going to add a comma and say DEAEMON, and set this equal to true, just like that. Then we're going to pass in dot start right after this with a set of parentheses. So right after this, we're going to go into the start without any indents and type in user input, and we're going to set this equal to ctk.ctk, just like this, ctk entry. This is going to be our entry widget where we're going to input our information. Then we're going to put this inside of our feature. Then we're going to say a placeholder. Let's say our placeholder text is going to be set equal to something like, let's say type a prompt and press send, or let's say press enter, because we have attached our enter button, and just like that we can say and press enter. Then we're going to add a comma right there just for the size. We're going to say height is equal to, let's say, about 46. Then for the foreground color, we want a dark gradient color. We're going to set it to a hex value, which will be 0f11a, as we did before. Add a comma, then set border underscore color, which is the border color, and I'm going to set it equal to a hex value as well, pound 232736, and that's going to be a dark gradient color. So I'm going to go right below that and type in user input dot pack right there. Then I'm going to fill, and fill is going to be set equal to x, comma, then side is equal to left, add a comma right after the side, and expand is going to be set equal to true right there. So I'm going to add a comma after that and say pad x is equal to 0 comma 10, just like that. And I'm going to go right below that and type in user underscore input dot bind so that I can actually bind it with the return key. So basically the return key is the enter key. As we did before, right here you can see the less than sign and the greater than sign. As we did right above here, we have configure. So canvas.bind is going to be binded with the return key right here. So I'm going to add a comma right here, and LAMBBDA is going to be set to E right here. This is just to avoid lag, and I'm going to type in stream underscore pipeline, open and close parentheses, and then we are done with the user input. Now all that's left to do is make our send button by typing in send underscore button. Is going to be set equal to ctk.ctk button, and this button is going to be put inside of our main window. We're going to put it inside of our footer to be specific, and we're going to put it at the far right. So the text is going to be set equal to send. That's going to be our send button, and we're going to make the width to be about 110 pixels, and we're going to set the height to be about 46, just like that. Then as for the foreground color, we're going to set foreground color set equal to a hex value. We're going to set it to something about a light blue. So I'm going to set this equal to pound 00F0FF, then add a comma right there, then text underscore color, which is going to be the send text color. I'm going to set this to be something darker, and I'm going to set this to be equal to, in quotes, pound, let's say something like 0A0B10. Then I'm going to set the hover color just like this, hover underscore color, and I'm going to set hover color to be set equal to pound 00C4D1, something about that. And let me just make everything in uppercase. The C should be in uppercase, so it's 00C4D1, and that's going to be our hex value. Then after that, I'm going to set the font set equal to CTK. It's going to be set equal to CTK in lowercase, ctk.ctk font, and the F should be in uppercase, just like that. Open and close parentheses. Then I'm going to pass in the weight. The weight is going to be set equal to, let's say, bold. We're going to make it bold. And the command, the button command, which is what's going to run our button, let's set it equal to string underscore pipeline, which is going to generate our AI response for us. So right after we're done making the send button, we're going to need to pack it. So I'm going to type in send button dot pack, just like this. Then the side is going to be set equal to the far right. So I'm just going to type in right in quotes right there, and we're going to type in app dot main loop and test and see if our app actually fully works. All right, now before we actually begin to actually test and see and check if our code is fully working, I had originally made an error. So we're going to go over to this part where I commented output window right here, and instead of ctk.ctk frame, I'm going to type in text box right here. It's supposed to be text box right there. And as for the color, instead of 2 ones, it's supposed to have 3 ones right there. And the final mistake I had made is in the model engine right here, it's supposed to be model name instead. So I'm just going to remove that and type it in as model name, hit save, and now all that's remaining to do is actually run our code and see if it works. So as you can see right here, we have our Nexus client. So we're going to type in a prompt. Let's say hi, hit send, and let's see what response we're going to get from our AI from the OpenAI website. So as you can see, hello, how can I help you today? So I'm going to ask it something else. Let's say, what is the capital of, let's say, something like France? Add a question mark right there, and let's see what response we're going to get from our AI model. So as you can see, the capital of France is Paris right here. Paris is not only the political capital, but it is also the largest city in France. And as you can see, we get more details right here, and it's also given us an emoji response right there. So you can continue going and playing around with this AI. And if you made it this far into the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. So now, as you can see, our Nexus client right here, or rather our AI, is fully working. So what we're going to need to do is test if it's actually working. Let's just say hi to it and see if we're getting any response from it. So as you can see, we're waiting for the AI reply here, and we are using the threading module to actually give it a smooth appearance to the AI. So right now, while we wait for the responses, entirely depends on your internet connection, as the AI may respond late if your internet connection is slow. And as you can see, this is our main reply from the AI. So let's just ask it another question. Let's say, what is the capital of the USA? And ask it that question and see what reply we get from our AI system. And as you can see, the capital of the US is Washington, DC. We can ask it, what is, let's say, the biggest ocean in the world? Yeah. So I'm going to ask it that and see what response I'm going to get from our AI system. And as you can see, the largest ocean in the world is the Pacific Ocean. And here are more key details about the ocean, the area, the location, the depth, and the unique features of the main ocean. So you can continue playing around with this main Nexus AI or whatever you decided to call your AI. And if you made it this far into the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.